Welcome to our quantum deep dive. Today, we're taking a really fascinating journey. We're diving into one of the most intriguing principles of the quantum world, the No-Hiding Theorem.
It's a really fundamental one.
Yeah, and we're basing our deep dive today on a fantastic essay by Jurgo Schneeppot. It provides, well, a really clear roadmap through some quite mind-bending ideas.
It certainly does.
So our mission here is to explore what this No-Hiding Theorem actually means, why it, challenges our everyday understanding of information, and maybe touch on its surprising implications for everything from, say, cybersecurity to black holes.
And what's truly fascinating, I think, is how this theorem just fundamentally redefines what losing information even means at the quantum level. It's so different from our classical intuition. Well, classically, you hit delete or something burns up, information seems gone, right? Poof.
Right, irretrievable.
Exactly. But quantum mechanics, through this theorem, says information isn't just like an abstract concept, it's physical. It has to be conserved somewhere, somehow.
Okay, wow. Information is a physical thing. That's big. So before we jump straight into no hiding, maybe we should back up a tiny bit. You might be wondering, what exactly is quantum information?
Good idea. A quick refresher on the basics is probably helpful.
Yeah, can you give us a sense of the core quantum ideas that set the stage?
Yeah.
Without getting lost in the, heavy math.
Sure, let's try. So first, think about superposition. A classical bit, like in your computer, is either 0 or 1, simple. A quantum bit or qubit is different. It can be in a combination of both 0 and 1 at the same time.
Like a spinning coin before it lands.
Exactly like that. It's only when you sort of look at it, measure it, that it settles into a definite 0 or 1.
Okay, superposition. What else?
And there's entanglement. This is maybe the weirdest one. It's this incredibly deep connection between two or more quantum particles.
The spooky action at a distance thing.
That's the one Einstein wasn't too fond of, yeah. If two particles are entangled, measuring one instantly tells you something about the other, no matter how far apart they are. Miles, light years, doesn't matter.
Instantly. Wow. Okay.
And that ties into the third point, quantum measurement. When we measure a quantum state, especially one in superposition, it sort of collapses.
Collapses.
Yeah, that blend of possibilities just snaps into one definite outcome. And which outcome you get involves some randomness based on the original superposition.
Okay, so superposition, entanglement, measurement.
Mm-hmm.
How does this make quantum information different from just, regular bits? I've heard of the no-cloning theorem. Is that related?
Absolutely related. Crucial, even. The no-cloning theorem is a fundamental barrier. It says you cannot make a perfect copy of an unknown quantum state.
You can't just copy-paste a qubit.
Nope. Not if you don't already know exactly what state it's in. Classically, copying data is trivial, right? Ctrl plus C, Ctrl plus V. Quantum mechanically, impossible to build a machine that universally copies any qubit you feed it. This immediately gives quantum information this unique, unforgeable quality, which is, as you can imagine, a huge deal for security.
Right. You can't just secretly copy a quantum key. Okay, that makes sense. So, with that foundation laid, let's get to the main event, the no-hiding theorem. This is where it gets really interesting, you said.
Yes, this is where the idea of information conservation really hits home.
What is it in its essence? Because my classical brain is still saying, but you can lose information.
And that's the intuition we have to challenge. So the no-hiding theorem, formally put forward by Samuel Braunstein and Arun Pati back in 2007, basically states this. In a closed quantum system, meaning one isolated from outside interference, information cannot be completely lost or destroyed.
Cannot be destroyed.
Correct. If information seems to vanish from one part of the system, maybe through some interaction, it must still exist, fully encoded, somewhere else within that same closed system. It's just been moved or redistributed.
So classical physics lets you delete things, shred documents, information lost to heat. But quantum mechanics says no.
Pretty much. It says, hold on, that information didn't really disappear from the universe. It just got shuffled around. It's a consequence of the fundamental reversibility, the unitarity of quantum evolution.
Okay. So it's not gone. It's just somewhere else. That's still kind of hard to grasp. How does this affect things we already know about, like that measurement collapse or decoherence? It really feels like information is lost then.
It does feel like it, yes. But the theorem reframes what's happening. Take measurement. When the superposition collapses, it looks like we lost all the information about the other possibilities it could have been.
Right.
But no hiding tells us that lost information isn't actually gone. It's effectively transferred to and becomes encoded in the relationship between the system and the measuring device and potentially the wider environment.
Okay. So it's imprinted on the measuring tool itself.
In a sense, yes. And the same applies to decoherence. That's when a quantum system interacts with its surroundings and loses its quantumness, its superposition or entanglement fades.
Yeah, that's the big enemy for quantum computers, right?
It is. But the theorem implies the information about those fragile quantum states isn't truly destroyed by decoherence, it's just diffused. It leaks into the environment, gets spread out, making it very, very hard to recover, but technically it's still preserved within the total system, environment included.
So, hang on. If the information isn't truly lost, just spread out, does that mean, theoretically, if you could perfectly track everything, the system, the measuring device, every particle in the environment that interacted with you, could reconstruct the original state?
That's the implication. In principle, yes, which, as you pointed out earlier, has massive implications for security.
How so?
Well, think about an eavesdropper trying to intercept quantum communication. If they try to grab the information, measure it, maybe try to delete the original, they can't actually make the information vanish without a trace.
Because it has to go somewhere.
Exactly. Their interaction inevitably leaves some kind of disturbance. The information about the original state or the fact that an interaction occurred gets encoded elsewhere. This makes eavesdropping detectable. You can't secretly steal quantum information and hide the fact you were there.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, you mentioned no cloning earlier. This no hiding sounds like it's part of a family of these no-go quantum rules. How does it relate to the others?
It's definitely part of that family. These no-go theorems are fascinating because they highlight just how different quantum information behaves compared to classical info. So we have no cloning. You can't copy an unknown state.
Right. No quantum photocopier.
Then there's the no deletion theorem. It's kind of the flip side of cloning.
Okay.
It says you can't perfectly delete one copy of an unknown quantum state if you have multiple identical copies. You can't just make one vanish cleanly, leaving the other untouched, without some side effect or trace.
So you can't clone, and you can't easily delete duplicates either.
Precisely. Now, the distinction with no hiding is subtle but important. No cloning and no deletion are about specific actions on states copying this state, deleting that one. No hiding is broader. It's about the conservation of information within the entire system. It's not forbidding a specific trick like copying. It's stating a deep principle. Information itself within a closed quantum system doesn't vanish. It just gets redistributed.
So it's less about what you can or can't do to equip it, and more about the fundamental balance sheet of information in the universe.
That's a great way to put it. The total amount of information stays constant, it just moves around. Together, these theorems really define the fundamental rules for handling quantum information.
Okay, this is clearly more than just theory. What are some of the real-world areas where this no-hiding principle really makes a difference?
Oh, it's incredibly practical. It impacts some of the most exciting fields. We already touched on quantum cryptography and security.
Yeah, the eavesdropping detection.
Exactly. Because information can't be hidden, any attempt to intercept leaves that detectable trace. Protocols like BB84 rely fundamentally on this. If someone tries to measure the quantum key being sent, their measurement must disturb the state in a way the legitimate users can spot. It ensures tamper evidence.
Makes sense. What else?
Quantum computing and error correction. This is huge. Quantum computers are notoriously fragile. Decoherence is constantly trying to scramble their quantum states.
Losing the quantumness.
Right. But the no-hiding theorem gives us hope. It provides the theoretical underpinning for quantum error correction. If a qubit's information seems lost due to noise, the theorem assures us it's not truly destroyed, it's just leaked into the environment or gotten mixed up within the system. So clever error-correcting codes, like the Shor code or Steen code, can be designed to detect these errors and essentially retrieve that lost information by looking at correlations across multiple qubits.
So the information is still there to be found if you know how to look.
Exactly. It guarantees that quantum computations, which need to be reversible at a fundamental level, don't just completely lose information when errors happen. It makes fault tolerance conceivable.
Okay. Crypto, computing, anything else?
Well, it's also vital for things like quantum entanglement and teleportation.
Teleportation. Like Star Trek.
Hey, not quite beaming people around, but teleporting quantum states.
Yeah.
When you teleport an unknown quantum state using entanglement and classical communication,
Yeah.
the original state is destroyed in the process, but its information isn't lost. It's reconstructed perfectly at the destination because the no-hiding theorem guarantees that information couldn't have just vanished during the measurement and transmission process. It had to be preserved and transferred.
Incredible. So this theorem is really doing a lot of heavy lifting behind the scenes. But has it actually been tested, like in a lab? Have scientists seen this information hiding and reappearing?
They have, which is really cool. It's not just math on a blackboard. The first direct experimental verification was back in 2011.
Oh, wow. How'd they do it?
A team, including Pati, one of the original theorists, used nuclear magnetic resonance NMR techniques. They basically prepared a quantum state, let it evolve in a way that made the information seem to disappear from the original qubit, turning it into a mixed state.
So it looked lost.
It looked lost if you only looked at that one part. But then, and this is the crucial bit, they showed they could fully recover the original state information by performing measurements on other parts of the NMR system, the environment in this case.
Ah, so they found where it went.
Exactly. They demonstrated that the information was just redistributed, not destroyed, directly confirming the theorem's prediction.
And has it been done elsewhere?
Yes. Since then, similar confirmations have happened using photons and optical setups, and also with superconducting qubits, the kind used in many quantum computers.
So multiple lines of evidence.
Right. But it's still really challenging. Testing these things, especially as systems get bigger and more complex, is tough. Decoherence is always fighting against you, and these quantum states are incredibly sensitive. It takes amazing experimental skill.
I can only imagine. Okay, so looking ahead, where does the no-hiding theorem lead us? What are the future implications or maybe open questions?
Oh, there's some huge ones. On the practical side, it's absolutely fundamental for building truly fault-tolerant quantum computers. Having that guarantee that information isn't fundamentally lost to errors is what makes scalable quantum error correction possible.
Which unlocks the real power of quantum computing.
Potentially, yes. It's also critical for developing a secure quantum internet. Imagine a global network where communication integrity is guaranteed by these fundamental quantum laws. No hiding helps ensure that tampering is always detectable.
A truly secure network. That's a big goal.
Definitely. And then there are the more fundamental, almost cosmological implications, like the black hole information paradox.
Ah, yes, Hawking's paradox. Does information disappear forever into a black hole?
That was the question Hawking raised. If it does, it seems to violate fundamental principles of quantum mechanics, like unitarity. But the no-hiding theorem says information cannot be destroyed.
So, conflict.
A big one. The theorem offers a potential way out. Maybe the information isn't lost, but it gets encoded in the Hawking radiation emitted by the black hole, or perhaps on the event horizon itself, maybe linked to something called the holographic principle.
Wow, so this connects quantum computing principles to the fate of information in black holes.
It seems to. It really pushes us to think about whether no hiding isn't just a rule for labs, but a deep fundamental property of the universe, linking quantum mechanics, gravity, and information itself.
That's profound. Are people doing experiments now to push these boundaries?
Absolutely. Researchers are always designing new experiments, using more complex entangled states, larger quantum systems, trying to probe the limits of the theorem and see if or how it might connect to these bigger questions about reality.
And that's our deep dive into the no-hiding theorem. A really profound idea that quantum information, well, it never truly disappears. It just gets redistributed, kind of forcing us to rethink what lost even means.
It really does. It underpins so much of what makes quantum technologies tick, both their power and their security.
A huge thank you for guiding us through that. And thanks also to your Goshnepot for the essay that gave us such a great framework for this exploration.
You know, thinking bigger picture, the theorem really underscores that information isn't just abstract ones and yours. It seems to be woven into the very fabric of the physical universe.
Yeah.
Which does make you wonder, if information is conserved so fundamentally, what other secrets about the cosmos might this principle help us uncover? What else is hiding in plain sight, just redistributed?
That is a fascinating thought to leave us with. If you want to explore more on this topic, you can visit snephat.de. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you feel a bit more informed and maybe a little more curious about the quantum world. Until next time.